I am back. Good morning. Come on, talk to me. Let me get the screen set up. Here we go. Hey, listen, it is a fantastic day, and if it was not a fantastic yesterday, welcome to today. I think we talked about this a minute ago. Like, I'm not a radio guy, but I think I'm supposed to have like a intro, like something I'm supposed to say every morning. Like, hey, good morning. I don't even know how to do that. Hey, Nikki Cole, good morning. Eric, good morning to you. Sunshine, Miss Sharon, good morning. Minister Blunt, good morning. Pastor Sybil's, Peanut. Hey, Sister Britt, good morning. Hey, Chandra, good morning to you. Venus, good morning. Sister Ford, good morning. Uh, Kia, hey, good morning. Sister Riri, good morning to you. Listen, we're going to have a fantastic day. Matter of fact, it's raining outside, and it's still gonna be a fantastic day. It's a little gloomy, dark, like, but God is the light of the world, and I don't know what that means to you. But listen, all of the stuff we talk about and preach about and sing about, it's got to be real. And so I think light of the world today for me means even in gloom, he is brightening up the day. So go ahead and make it a good day. Hey, cuz Charlotte, good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Matter of fact, let me kind of hey, Sister Bugs, good morning. Good morning. Let me just take a minute to just say thank you to our Kingdom family, and thank you so much to Saint Mark family. I wasn't on yesterday, as you guys know, but we are coming off of a 1 year anniversary. So first of all, let me just say thank you guys for the whole year for trusting, right? For trusting me, trusting Reverend J, trusting God during this annual process. It's been a year for the books, right? I've been telling people that it's been one of those years, but God has been faithful. God has shown up strong. God has spoken to us in so many different ways and so many different methods. And so I want to thank again our entire ministry team, for everyone responsible for putting together the anniversary parade. It was fantastic. I miss church for sure, but then I think I just miss the people. So to be able to see all of the family come by, it was great. For those of you who couldn't come by, again, let me just kind of say, hey to you, we missed you. Thank each of you for that time, the time that you had to spend to come out. We really appreciate that. And then you bombarded us with gifts. I mean, from fruit to our favorite snacks to cards, envelopes, cash checks. You hit up the cash apps and the Zelles. Listen, I want to really just practically say thank you so much for that outpour of what I think is love. It's not just just giving, but I think it's an expression of love because people don't have to be nice. You definitely don't have to share of your hard-earned anything. And so thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And then thank you for the year where God has grown all of us, I think. So thank you. Thank you so much for the anniversary love. We're looking forward to many more and God doing more. Remember, God doesn't waste a crisis. And if this is what you think we're in, then he's not going to waste it. All right. Yes, let's kind of jump into I did receive, yes, I did receive some gifts. And you guys know I'm a watch guy. Like I'm a watch connoisseur, kinda, maybe. I don't know. I guess it's in perspective, but I definitely love timepieces, and I usually note them. Just I don't know, pet peeve, I guess. But I do want to thank the team. They went out of their way and made some things happen for the anniversary, and I definitely appreciate the love. So let's study. Let's study real quick. Quick devo. Let me also say this right now. We're just kind of doing random devos. Want to just keep you motivated, remind you what God is able to do and who God is. For all of the preachers out there, preachers and teachers, one of the things that I studied in my doctoral work was the application of grace. That sometimes in our preaching and in our teaching, in our discussions about God, we often 3 point, 2 point, 5 point people into what they should do, right? And it's kind of here's the relevant question, here's the problem, right? Here's the tension, the antithesis of life, and then we come back and say, now here's what you ought to do, right? If you do these things, when you do these things, God will. And those things are absolutely true. I've done it. I do it in preaching, but I've also really taken a hard stance on studying grace. And grace is the opposite because what grace does is say, look, here's the problem, here's the issue, here's the tension, here's the antithesis to life, the challenge that we face. But then the answer is not, so here's what you do. The answer is not, so here's how you should pray or you ought to trust God more, or you ought to, right? It's not a what we should do. Grace preaching suggests, grace teaching, grace gospel suggests that when there is tension or problem or challenge, that the answer is always to focus on what is God doing. Oh man, yeah, absolutely. So it's the difference between you should pray 3 times a day and note that God answers each one of your prayers whenever you pray. It is you should fight the power, protest, and write your congressman, congresswoman, which you should all do. Let me be clear: do all of that. But the grace preaching says, hey, don't just do that. Like while you're doing that, also, or before we even talk about doing that, let me just tell you that God is a just God, and He's already working. That God is pulling back the covers on injustice and getting ready to bring justice. Right? Put the emphasis on what God does. It is the difference between listen. Make sure that you wear your mask and take some vitamins to up the ante on your immune system, which you should do, right? But what this grace preaching, teaching gospel does is say, hey, listen, in the era of COVID, do not forget that God is our balm in Gilead. He is indeed our healer. He is able to get beneath the skin and pull back the dis-ease. Yeah, He does that. And so I wanted to kind of toss it out today because what I like to do this week is really just kind of present to you grace. We haven't really been in a theme. I'm still in prayer about, thematically what we should be studying and kind of where I am, headspace, and what's going on. So I'm still in prayer about that. I solicit your prayers and I solicit your emails. Inbox me. If you have something on your heart, you're like, hey, I think we should be talking about this, or maybe we should be studying that, or I have this question that I've really been wrestling with. Toss that to me. I would love to delve into study for you. But until we get there, I want you to go with me to Psalms 91, verse 15 for our grace gospel moment for today. Psalms 91, verse 15. Here you go. You ready? Psalms 91, 15. It says, He will call on me, and I will answer him. Clear cut. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I remember years ago. I don't remember exactly when, so I'm not going to take credit for any of this. But there was a Daily Bread post that talked about how God responds. And that's all. Today I want you to know that when you reach out, God does respond. That God is not like so many who will drop your call, miss your text, not respond to an email. Matter of fact, let me go on record as saying that I probably am one of the worst communicators on the planet. I would probably drive an hour and a half to get in front of you and talk to you for 10 minutes before I would consciously remember to call you and talk for 30. I don't know. I just my follow up in that way. I try to be really intentional about it. I pray about it. I teach it in all of my business courses, right? That follow up is important. I don't know. I mean, we could dissect it and I could give you the reasons why I think, and you probably have some reasons, but like phone calls and emails, text messaging, I'm getting better at. I'm just not good at response. Now, if you got me, you got me. If I can get in front of you, or when we get on the phone, or when we finally start the text, or when I finally get to the email, listen, I'm all in. Even my mama is fussing at me right now about not calling her back or missing a call. I'm working through that. Pray for me. I've also found it to be true with some others. There was a guy who really loved, young boy. He really loved LeBron, and he was writing emails. He got on his Instagram account. He sent something to Facebook, and he just kind of talked about how he kept reaching out, and LeBron never reached back out to him. And let me be clear, I'm not at all talking about me and LeBron. I just went from the bottom to the top. I wanted to catch both spectrums, right? It's happened with politicians, right? You send a letter to a politician, you may or may not get a response back. Here's the point. It's possible for you to reach out to people and not necessarily get back a response for whatever reasons. Sometimes it's because they don't know you. Sometimes it's because whatever you wrote about, they don't care about. Sometimes it is because when you call, they are not available because their time is spent with someone else and they just can't multitask that time. I don't know. I don't know why people don't respond. Here's what I do know. I know God does. That where people are flawed, like myself, and don't respond in timely manner, God always responds. Yeah, he does. He hears your cry, and that's what the songwriter talks about in Psalms 91. Really interesting because Psalms 91 is often noted for its beginning, right? In Psalms 91, we start off with, um, oh man, how did I just go blank? He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Is that right? Did I just went blank on Psalms 91. But we often used to talking about the first part of Psalms 91. When you're in trouble, you ought to turn to Psalms 911, right? We kind of coined that phrase, and I think you ought to. But if you go down a little bit further, what you get is this simple statement that rings true for everyone, right? Yep, it's he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. He is my God in whom I will trust. Psalms 91, 1 through 2. But when you get down to verse 15, he says, and I need you to hear me. That God says, look, he will call on me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Listen, God does hear you. He doesn't always answer the way you want, but he hears you. He doesn't always do what you tell him to, but he will respond. He's not always seen while doing it, but he gets it done. There's a story, true story, about these seamstress, and they were a group of seamstress who were actually working for a king overseas. And while working for this king overseas, the king simply he left simple instructions. If you have any trouble with what you're working on, they were working with the finest silks. They were crafting what were the best garments for him. And he said, listen, if you have any problems, just give me a call. I want to help you out. And so there was some older, right? There was some older seamstress, and then there was some seamstress who had been there for a while, and then there was this young new guy. And the older and the middle group, they just kept having trouble and they were struggling. But this new guy was just on it. He was getting it done. His products looked great. He was finishing faster. And somewhere, at the end of their duration, 30 days or so, somebody finally asked him, why are you smiling? Why are you happy? This is the hardest material we've ever had to work with. And the young new guy simply said, I called the king. And then why do you keep calling him? Why would you disturb the king that way? Why would you interrupt him? Why not make him think that you can figure it out on your own? And he said, the king told us when he left that if we had any trouble, call him. So I called him. And because I have called him, not only has this been easier, but I've gotten things done quicker. And to be honest, my products look better than yours do. Why not call the king if he's giving you direct access? That was a guy's response, and I wanna submit that same idea to you. Listen, don't struggle unnecessarily. Don't go through hard times because of your pride. Don't try to determine for yourself what might be the right solution when God is saying, "Call me, and I'll give you the right solution." And I know this may be too simplistic in its form, because really all I'm saying is, listen, you ought to seek the Lord, because he does respond. And maybe even more than that, what I'm saying is, for those of you who have given up on prayer or just tossed your Bible out as a source of solution and a way to gain answers, go back to it. Because while it may not have worked out the way you wanted it to, or you thought it should, or you planned it the first time, Psalms 91 reaffirms for us that he will answer you. That when you call, he answers. If you text message, like read your word to him, he will respond. Yes, he will. Email for him is like excellent mail. It is the way that he does excellent things. Listen, today's message for you is call on him, cry to him, pray with him, read your word, have a gospel conversation. Just for a minute, turn the news down, turn the volume down on the news for a minute, and turn up God's voice, and know that God hears your prayers. So Father, today as we begin this prayer moment, we come in a moment praying, realizing one, that you want us to talk to you. That we don't worry, we cannot worry you so much so that you get tired of us talking, that we can't pray so often that you need a break, that there's no moment we'll call you and you'll be so attentive to someone else that you don't have time for us. You don't have that human flaw of not being able to multitask. God, you're omnipresent. And more than omnipresent, you are all powerful, that you have enough. You have the bandwidth to handle my issues and their issues, her issues, our issues, his issues at the same time. You have so much stored up that you can bless us all at the same time and never be deficient of anything. You can give us all love, all favor, all peace, all mercy at the same time and still live in a place of overflow. And God, because of that, our prayer this morning as your children is one, that you would incite us to pray, that you would turn us back towards you, that you would point our hearts in your direction, that you would turn your ear towards us. And God, once we get to that place, or because we are going to get to the place where we are in constant conversation with you over the big things and the little, over the things we're sure about and the things that we don't quite know, then God, we know you're going to hear. And because you hear, you will respond. Just help us see it. Don't let us miss out on it. Don't let us be so stubborn and one track minded that we miss out on the options that you have. Don't let us be so bent towards one particular solution that we miss out on all of the alternate ways you can work. Don't let us put periods and conclude areas of our life and kind of count them done when you are a miracle working God, able to resurrect, able to restore, able to redirect them. No, God, our prayer this morning is that we reach out and we know that you respond. Restore our faith in you. Restore our confidence in conversing with you. Restore our desire as the deer panteth for the waters. God, our prayer is that you would turn our souls back unto you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Listen, you guys have a fantastic